What's up, nerds? I saw Shazam last night, so let's talk about it.
Nerd! D, wait for it. Delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So last night I got to go to the Fandango early access screening of Shazam! And let me just tell you right now, this movie is fantastic, okay? So, I loved it. It was so good and everything, and we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about the characters, I'm going to talk about the plot and everything, but I just want to say that this movie is, if you liked Aquaman, if you liked Wonder Woman, then you're going to love this movie also. And, I mean, like, it's arguably the best movie in the DCEU, which I know a lot of people are just like, oh, well, that's not hard to do. But I think that after Aquaman, which after Aquaman's success, I would say, like, and how good it was, and if you didn't like Aquaman, then you've got a character flaw, but after all of that, I do think that this is a turnaround for the DCEU, and I think that it's starting to, the movies are starting to get better, and I think that this is just a testament to that. Now, this movie is so atmospheric, and the world is rich, and the world building, and what we see is going on in this world, and the characters, and how they evolve, and how they move in this world, is so great in this movie. So, I have to tell you right now, that I did love the main protagonist, the hero, Shazam, but I loved the villain even better. What a great villain in Dr. Savannah, played by Mark Strong. So good, you guys. He was my favorite part of the whole movie, and his little helpers, we're going to get into in just a second. But I was just so, I loved every single part of his performance and everything. So, so basically, why don't we just go ahead and dive into the plot real quick. And I just want to tell you guys right now that this is a spoiler review. I did mention it in the title, but I just want to say it right now. So if you don't want to hear about what goes down in the movie, then right now is the time to shut this off, wait 2 weeks, and then come back and watch this review. So, I'm going to bust down the plot real quick. So, Dr. Savannah is a child. He gets taken to the wizard's cave to become the champion, and he ends up not being worthy because he's not pure of heart. He doesn't like this, and his dad and him and his brother get into a car accident, and his dad blames him for losing the loss of his, the use of his legs. He's in a wheelchair from then on out because they get into a car accident and everything. And they blame him, and it's really not his fault, but, so then, all the rest of his life, he is obsessed with finding this temple because the evil the seven deadly sins, these demons they tell him to come find us and everything. So he's gonna be their champion. And then we move to today, where, like I said, all his life he is a doctor at Savannah Industries, and he ends up finding it and becomes their champion and everything. And then Billy Batson, his mother leaves him when he's a child, but he thinks he ran away because he was a child and he didn't know otherwise. And then he is basically spending his time trying to find his mom, and then he gets put in this foster home and meets all the other Shazam family, which we're going to talk about them in a minute and everything. And basically it's just him, he gets the powers from the wizard, and then he just basically his growth as the character. And we'll talk about the ending in just a sec. I don't want to dive right into it, because now we're going to talk about the characters. Now, normally I do it from my least favorite to my favorite, but I'm just going to talk about all of them because I pretty much liked every character in this movie. So first I want to talk about Shazam / Billy Batson. Now, Zachary Levi does a great job here. I didn't think I would like him in this role because I'm not a huge Zachary Levi fan, but he did such a good job. I enjoyed every moment he was on screen. I thought the costume would be all hokey, but it wasn't. It was great. I loved it and everything. But he did such a great job. However, Asher Angel, who played Billy Batson, it took me some time to warm up to him because, I mean, he's not a bad actor. It's just, I don't think he's movie-level quality. Like, he's from the Disney Channel, from what I understand. I don't really know a whole bunch about him because this is the first thing I've ever seen him in. But he does, he got better as the movie went on, but I still wasn't sold on, like, I really like this kid as an actor. But he wasn't too bad. He wasn't, like, overwhelmingly bad. Like, he's got time to grow in his talent, and I hope he does. Because I want a number 2. Let me just tell you right now. We'll get to that later on when we talk about the Shazam family. So, next I want to talk about Freddy. And this is played by Jack Dylan Grazer. And you may know him from It. But he was just great, you guys. He is so great. This kid, he is a child actor. Like, it was just so great. And he comes from an acting family and everything. But he's so good in this movie. It almost makes me wish that he wasn't Freddy so he could do a better part later on, but he does such a great job throughout the entire movie from start to finish. As soon as he comes on screen, I just loved his character the whole time. I just love him. So then I want to talk about Dr. Savannah, as I mentioned, played by Mark Strong. Now, this was my favorite character. I am drawn to the bad guys mostly, but I didn't think I would be drawn to this one because when I saw the trailers, I was like, this looks like such a stupid bad guy. But no, I am corrected. He is a great bad guy. There is a scene at the beginning, well, not at the beginning, it's kind of like a little bit towards the beginning, when he gets the powers to be the evil Seven Deadly Sins champion, where he goes into the boardroom of all the board members of Savannah Industries, and his father's there and his brother is there, and he walks in and his brother is like, do you want me to throw you out? And he's like, do you think you could throw me out, Dad? And then he just grabs his brother and he throws him out the window, like down like 1,000,000 stories and everything. And then he releases the demons, and then and he's locked the door, by the way, and the demons kill everybody in the room. They kill everybody except for his dad. And then he's all like, and his dad's all like, what do you want? And everything. He's like, I'll give you the company. I'll give you all the money you want. And he's all like, that's what you want. Greed. And then he's like, I'm going to take all these guys away and everything. And he takes back the demons. He's like, wait, you can have greed. And then the greed demon kills his dad. It's so good. So good. I loved it. So he was just the bad, and then his flying was great. I loved his flying, and then there's this scene at the end where he's doing his bad guy monologue, but he's so far away, and like Zachary Levi, Shazam says, he's so far away that it's like a mile away, and he can't hear him. Like, it's very meta and everything, because he's like, oh, are you doing the bad guy speech with my impending doom? And then Mark Strong's all like, I will eat your eyeballs, or something like that and everything. And he's all like, what? What? It's so funny and so good, you guys. So then I want to talk about the Wizard, and now this is played by Dijman Husono. I don't know how to say his last name or his first name. I'm so sorry, you guys. I feel bad about that. But he plays the Wizard. Now, he's not on screen for very long, but he does a pretty good job. You know, it's kind of like, I would say he has a total of, we'll say 10 minutes, but he does a pretty good job. I mean, like, it looks like his DC characters, every time he plays a DC character, because he was the Fisherman King in Aquaman, his characters end up dying, and the Wizard does die when he passes on his powers, but his characters seem to die, which I would be totally fine if he came on as like a character in every DC movie, but like you couldn't tell it was him because he had face paint or whatever and everything. That'd be so great. They should try to do that. It'd be funny. So now I want to talk about the Shazam family. Now, what this movie does that I find really great is it shows a positive side to the foster care system, and this is obvious. These are two people that were foster kids themselves. They take in a bunch of foster kids, and they love them. They just want them to do great in life, to have a great life, and you really feel that. And I really, when at the end when Billy says, "I'm gonna stay. This is my home," and the mom gets all teary-eyed, I was all like, "Oh my goodness!" Like feels right here because you could tell that she like both the parents really cared about those kids, and it really does show a positive side to foster care. But as far as the Shazam family, my favorite one was Darla, and she's the little girl, and she is played by Faith Herman, and oh my goodness, it's so freaking cute, you guys, adorable as all get out. I'm telling you what, I could watch her all day. She was just so great. She every time she was on screen, I was immediately like, boom, what's Darla doing and everything. It was just so great, and I'm really positive about her career in the future. Now, this is the part that you might want to turn off for sure, because I'm going to, explain the last battle. So, Mark Strong, Dr. Savannah, wants the Shazam powers. So he's got the staff of the wizard. So, what has to happen is Shazam has to be holding on to the staff, and so does Mark Strong and everything. And and then he says Shazam, and they get and then he transfers the powers to Dr. Savannah. But what he does is he like hits Savannah back or whatever. He turns around and he's like, hands on deck and everything. And all the other kids put their hands on the magic wand and they all say Shazam. And after a funny joke, and then they all turn into the Shazam family. And let me just tell you guys right now, I love the costumes of the Shazam family as much as I love Shazam's costume now that I've seen it on screen. And then they start fighting all the demons and Dr. Savannah, and it's such a great fight. I mean, I really did like Megan Good as a grown-up Darla. She did such a great job playing a small child, and she's very attractive in my opinion. Very attractive. As soon as she came on, I was like, hello, how are you? What you doing? And everything. And then I also did like Adam Brody as like an adult Freddy and everything. The other actors did great too, as the the woman that played Mary. I think Booth is her last name. Gosh, I can't remember the guy that plays Enrique. And then, Edward? No. The Asian kid. I can't remember his name, but I can't remember all the actors that played the adult ones, but they did a decent job. Like, they did a really good job, and there was a bunch of different references to, like, video games and movies and stuff, and it was really great. And I loved that fight scene at the end. It was really, really great. So, now I want to talk about some other things that were in the movie, but not like huge. Okay, so Black Adam he's in the movie, but he's not really in the movie. So the wizard explains to Billy Batson how he had the wizards all they had their champion, and he turned on them, and he sent out the 7 deadly sins onto the world. And he does it through like this magic hologram. And that's Black Adam, which I kind of go, okay, but I mean, you don't see The Rock's face. Apparently The Rock is going to play him, but you don't see him, and there's some problems with negotiation. Also, Superman does show up. Freddy tells some kids at school, the champion is my Thunderbolt, or whatever they name him. They name him a bunch of different names. He's my friend. He's going to show up at lunch tomorrow. Doesn't show up, and Freddy gets a suitcase wedgie. Never heard of it before. Then at the end, he does show up, Shazam does show up, but then he's like, I also brought a friend, and Superman shows up. But you only see Superman from here down. You only see the suit. And the reason for that is, and I have explained it in a Week in Review earlier, that there's some negotiation problems with Henry Cavill, and his manager gosh, I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but she is the ex-wife of The Rock, who she also manages. And both of them were supposed to make cameos, but because Henry Cavill wants A-list salary and A-list treatment, and the Warner Brothers is like, no, you don't get that, because in my opinion, he doesn't deserve it or worth it. He wasn't going to do a cameo, and now he's not playing Superman, which is a big mistake in my opinion, but that's besides the point. We're just moving on. So Superman kind of makes an appearance. And then there's a bunch of references to the other Justice Leaguers. So the end credit scenes, there's 2 of them. So the first one is Dr. Savannah is in jail. He's lost his powers. His eye is just like a normal eye. Well, it's a glass eye now because he doesn't have an eye there. But this worm shows up, and this worm is from the comics way back when. I cannot remember the name of it, and I should have wrote it down in my notes, but I didn't, but oh well. And so they're basically talking about how they're going to take over the 7 realms. And I thought this one was really good, but I was kind of hoping for a Black Adam end credit scene, like The Rock would just be like, alright, I'll show up. But he didn't. And we got this worm, and it was great. I loved it. It was very comic booky, and I loved it, and I can't wait for number 2. The last one was kind of in one of the TV spots, I believe, or one of the TV spots, where he's got a fishbowl and he's trying to talk to the fish, and then he's all like, yeah, I can't talk to fish or whatever, and then he's like, that's a stupid power, and he's like, why would I want that? And Freddy is wearing an Aquaman shirt, and he's like, so you can control millions under the sea? And he's like, oh yeah, good point, and everything. And I'm like, yeah, good point, because Aquaman's awesome, buttface. So those are the 2 end credit scenes. Nothing crazy great, but they're pretty good, especially for this movie. A sequel. There should be a sequel. If there is not a sequel to this movie, I will be very upset. David S. Sandberg, the director, he made such a good movie. This movie is really, really good, you guys, and I would suggest anybody go see it as soon as you possibly can. But he's made such a good movie that it deserves a sequel and everything. And we as fans deserve a sequel also. So in conclusion, Shazam not only captures the imagination of a young foster boy, but it's captured the imagination and the excitement of plenty of fans. And I suggest you guys go see it when it comes out April 5th and enjoy it for yourselves. And I will check you guys later. Shazam!